What's up, Detroit?
What's up, Detroit?
What is this? February what?
27.
No, it's February still, right?
One more day.
Man, one more day.
One more day.
It only goes to the 28th this year.
Yeah, and they're talking about getting rid of leap year. So
How they gonna get rid of leap year?
they're trying to figure it out.
Well, I figure when they can make Christmas on this date and change it and make it on that day, or Easter on this week,
Yeah.
it's like we got the bouncing holidays.
Yeah.
U.S. is something else, aren't we?
It's something else.
Something else. Joe, it's good to have you back.
I'm glad to be back.
Yeah.
And feeling good and in good spirits.
Looking good.
Well, I'm rested.
Somebody said, Joe, you look so young. I was like, black don't crack.
I'm telling you, I ain't trying to look like that other side, So
Right.
But I feel good. I had a nice trip. I went down south, and then I went to the West Coast, and I had a great experience down there in the Cajun country. I did a thing down there with the Red Hatters.
Okay, yes.
And man,
Dignified ladies.
boy, what a positive room! I sat in there that night, all night. I did a couple songs. And I guess we did because they sang along word for word, everything that I did. And I haven't been in a positive environment like that, and I can't even tell you when.
Wow. Wow.
All kinds of ladies. And it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
A lot of folks aren't familiar with it. I just become aware of them, and they got and there were folks there from Detroit that were part of that, Red Hatters thing, coming out of Lake Charles and Houston.
Okay.
And it was really something else,
Yeah.
a different kind of a vibe, period.
It's nice when you see a group of women like that and they all have on the red hats. That's just so awesome.
They were bling. The boy, he was always doing like this, looking at everything that they were doing. I was like, this is something. This
Yeah.
really was. I was very impressed.
Yeah, I'm sure. I bet they look good.
Yeah.
Us black people, we like to bling a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it was white folks
That's part
in
of
there
the history, though, the heritage,
Yeah.
with the colors, the royal colors. And
Yeah.
so, whenever we get dressed and we do our thing, we want to
Carnival.
shine. Yeah.
Carnival.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, and we had a little bit of the it's all at Mardi Gras season.
Okay.
And they be doing things all up until this past Fat Tuesday,
Okay.
So
Okay.
they were, in fact, they had some folks come into the party that were part of the Mardi Gras parade. They did their little parade around the room, and one of the DJs from the radio station, he had this some kind of hermaphrodite or whatever kind of animal that was suit he had on, but it was really something.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
I
Okay.
really enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, I got to go down there one year for the Mardi Gras. I've never been for the Mardi Gras, but I want to go.
I'm sure we're going to be getting some calls because, we had a party in there, and, a lot of those ladies in there have their own chapters.
Okay.
And I ran out of cards. Everybody, y'all available for Christmas? Y'all available? I was like, well, let me.
You fly us in. We
Yeah, we're available.
give us a nice little stipend,
Yep.
and then fly us in and
Yep.
provide a place for us to stay. We'll be there.
We'll be there.
Smile our faces and all.
All the time. Not sometimes, all the time. That
All
was
the
really
time.
something.
That's right.
So it was really nice.
Yeah.
Detroit. Boy, the Southwest Activity Center.
Northwest.
Northwest
Yes.
Activity Center. I used to live in that neighborhood. I watched it being built.
Yeah.
And I think I did a thing in there. The other time that I was in there, I think I was in there for the Nation of Islam. I think Farrakhan was there.
Okay.
And I have been in this town back 5 years. And venues, I was looking at black venues and places where, where we can just be able to go and do things.
Yeah.
Boy, the Northwest Activity Center, the sound system was
Yeah, it was good.
excellent.
It was good. It was really, really good.
The room felt good. The event was well organized.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. Except I had to get out of the food line to go do a sound check. So, but other than that, Detroit has, it's just so many hidden things here that we're not taking advantage of. Because I really got some ideas.
Yeah.
They don't have to be no great things, but a good showcase.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we need to support those places. We need to
Right.
be a part of
Yeah.
it. In fact, I was at the last time something was going on there that I had intended to go on. Mollywop, this group called Mollywop was
Yep,
there,
heard of them. Yes.
and I was intending to go by there, but we were doing something else at
Okay.
that same time.
Okay.
So that cut that, but I was very impressed. And
It was nice. It was the event that he's speaking of is the Brenda Wilson's charity fundraiser for her father's charity, Jackie Wilson Foundation, and the event was called "The Offsprings of Legends." And so, how she was able to get so many of these legends, the children are offsprings of legends. I was like, wow, because it was just kind of like a who's who in that house on Sunday.
well, I can tell you how.
It was beautiful.
Because most of those folks came, their parents were a part of the Jackie Wilson era.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Jackie Wilson, he tore down all the doors.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the doors. And all those folks, when they get a chance to be a part of something that's going to say shine, Jackie Wilson, same thing if you say, put a thing together of the Michael Jackson era.
Oh yeah. Yeah. for sure.
Folks that were coming up and perform with and worked with and around, they're gonna show up.
Oh yeah.
And those folks were very. I was
Yeah.
very impressed.
It was beautiful. The Bendito King,
Yes.
his son of Ben
Benny
E.
King,
King,
yes.
Rose Reed.
Yes.
Oh my God, they just did a fabulous job. And then she had Robert Carter there, who sounds just like Jackie Wilson, just like. And then she sang a solo herself. Brenda did, and it was beautiful. We performed on it. We did the smiling faces. You got to do the hit.
I lost my voice.
Joe sounded great. The video is floating around on Facebook. If you guys are familiar with how to get on Facebook, look up Brenda Wilson. And you'll find it. You'll find the video link, and you'll find photos also. There was also Representative Isaac Robinson.
Yes.
He was there, and he was
State
giving out
representative.
awards, a state representative, yeah. And he was giving out awards. He gave us an award with the Great Seal of Michigan.
Seal of Michigan.
He said it was the
Highest honor.
highest honor you can get
From the city.
from the
state.
from the state of
Yes.
Michigan. And so we were honored to get that. We were just going in to support Brenda and had no idea that they had planned to give us an award. So we was just sitting there eating dinner with chicken in our hands.
Yeah.
We were so surprised. And they called us up to come and get an award. I thought
He
that
told
was
me.
awesome.
I was very impressed with him. He said, "I researched you." He said, "The Peps."
Yes.
I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, yeah," and I was trying to figure where he was coming from. He said,
Me
"The
too.
Peps," and then he said, "Brewster Projects." I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I was from the Jeffrey
Yes.
Projects." I said, "The Jeffrey Projects," and a white boy grew up in the Jeffrey Projects. Then he knows something.
Oh yeah, because he was hanging with
He-
he
oh,
was
yeah,
hanging
he
in the
knows
city.
something.
If he grew up in that time, he knows. And you got to give tribute to that. I'm just
I
going to say
do.
because all we saw were black faces in the city. That's all I
Yes.
remember.
Yes.
And so to grow up in those areas at that time or in that era of a time, 60s, 70s. You were exposed to a lot of things happening in the city. So
Yeah.
that makes you one of us. Right on, bro. Right on.
Yeah.
And so, but it was really an honor. He kind of got me too because he said I know all about you. I looked you up and I was like,
Yeah, we talked. He researched us.
yeah, he did.
He was, and then I told him a few things. He said, "Yeah, well, we do these honors with, especially Motown, because that was part of our state history.
Yes.
Not just the city of Detroit." He said,
Right.
"When I became a council person, I want to make sure that we get our part of the accolades too.
Right, right.
And so all those are the things make a matter, and then also it's getting time to vote again too. So,
That's right.
So of course I stand and take a picture with you because when he spoke, it was everything that he talked about was genuine.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was talking about the satin doll thing. I think he had
Oh
something to
yeah,
do with
yeah.
that.
With Sky, well, Sky Covington gave an event, and it was this event that she's been doing lately, which is, from what I hear, is really, really good. But she's no joke herself. I love her voice. She's such a sweet lady. I've known her for a few years, and she's just a really, really cool person. And she had the review. I think it's called the Satin Doll Review.
Yes.
And she has someone doing Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday. It's just awesome. You guys check that out. It's on Facebook as well. You can go look up Sky Covington and look up Satin Doll Review, and you'll see it. But John Glover was there. He was also on the show earlier in the year, and he was talking about royalties and how he hadn't gotten any. And then we brought on Shelly Case. She was with him.
Right, yeah.
And so he was there, and he also got an award from State Rep Isaac Robinson as well.
Motown.
Yeah, for Motown.
Yeah, see, he had quite a few big hit records, and he feels as though he was played. And I told him that whoever had your publishing, whoever took your publishing those many years ago, they don't own it no more.
Right.
It's so much information. When you write a song and you publish it with somebody, they don't have it forever.
Right. That's right.
They don't tell you all the stuff that you need to know. So I mean, even if your dad had written songs, and it was published by somebody else, and your dad or your mom has went on, now you can go back and get those things that becomes part of your you own that because it was your parents. They don't ever lose that.
Right.
And it's a shame now that folks like Curtis Mayfield, their family don't have their music. Norman Whitfield's family don't have their music. It's a whole bunch of us, where that music was created in the era.
Yeah.
And we call it, in the business, forever money.
Right.
Because somebody might record it like Beyonce did.
The Frankie Beverly and the Maids.
Beverly's, and Frankie Beverly needed
Before I
a
Let
kick, and all of a sudden he back on top of the world
There you
with
go.
a hit record. So you never know.
Right.
But I mean, when you research and you find out the ins and outs of everything in this business, you realize that it really is a business.
Yes, it is. And you have to know your business. Of the business, for real, if you're going to do it. I was working with a young man in my group at church, and his name is CJ. You'll meet him one day because he's going to be on. He's doing everything. But he was asking me about, working on a project because we're doing a project now.
Right.
And so he was asking me about it. I was like, CJ, from the top to the bottom, it's got to be legit. I said, now we'll do a few covers, but we have to make sure we take care of the business for the covers.
Right.
Everything has to be legal. And so I got him kind of shadowing me so I can teach him what he needs to know because he's been doing it. However, he's been dabbling here and then dabbling there. And then it just has not been cohesive where it come together and all be done legally. Or where he can actually show some ownership to what he's doing, his portion of the music that he's writing. And so for me, it's important that I teach him what I know so that he can better handle that down the road. It helped us.
That's where it go.
Joe knew some, I knew some. We put it together, and we got a project.
Yeah, we got a project.
Bam!
Right. And you know what? When I went to Louisiana, one of the ladies from the Red Hatters introduced me to this DJ, and I gave him a couple of copies of the CD.
Okay.
And he was like, "Wow, I can play this."
Yes.
I said, "Yeah, you can play it." He said, and he said that in the sense that, there are a lot of places where you take your music, they can't play it.
Yeah.
That's part of the shutdown. How they won't give you an opportunity to do something and then they take it back.
Right.
So Detroit is horrible.
Yeah.
We got so many folks here that make music and do things like that, but they don't have no outlet for anybody to be able to showcase it unless you really know somebody.
Yeah.
And you go sit on the air with them and they'll sit there with you like like we did with Jay Butler.
Right,
And a
yes.
few people there
Yeah.
play your stuff and give you a lot of props. But then to get it programmed, my record is the CD is programmed down there in Lake Charles.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it is, and he was saying, "Man, I'm getting people calling about this and doing this." I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
because," and the thing that gets me every time people say, "This is the kind of stuff that we've been missing."
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know no other way to make our music other than the way that I learned from the folks
Yeah.
that I learned from.
Right.
I have all total respect for folks with new ideas and new things, but ain't nothing like the real thing.
Oh, yeah.
And those things. And when I judge music by how it makes itself prevalent for the time, where you
Yeah,
can say, "Oh,
yeah.
when I hear that song, it takes me right back to this particular point. I can remember this, and it reminds me of things, and it always showcase what I was doing at a
Yeah,
particular time."
yeah.
There's no music out there, for me that I can hear, that I've heard since I've been in Detroit, that I can hear now. That, like I was telling you that a few months ago, we was talking about this one song, "Twilight." It's about
Okay.
daylight. Daylight.
Oh, you're talking about Stay Woke.
Stay woke, okay. Yeah,
Stay woke.
Yeah, okay. I
Yeah.
say, and the only reason why is because D.L. Hughley and a few other folks wore it out on the radio. And I was like, what's happening with this song? And then someone told me that guy's riding a bus around Detroit.
Oh, wow.
Whatever happened, what
Yeah.
I mean, but still, he had enough airplay in Detroit to have some nice little fat sound checks.
I'm trying to remember the person who did that. Sean, if you know who that is, please let me know who the person is that did that song. Because I know the song very well. I just can't think of the artist right now. But yeah, I mean, lyrics like those, like Kendrick Lamar's,
Kendrick Lamar.
those lyrics all have purpose in today.
Right.
I almost feel like it's back to the 60s when the music was changing the nation. In hip hop, that's what's happening right now. Now, you still have some of, I call it bubblegum music, where it's
Right.
all about, you ain't love me right, and his man is her man, and my man, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. We got to have it all, right? But there are songs out there that really, really
Yes. Have some
make a
substance
difference
to
for
them,
the stand for the test of time.
Stand the test of time.
And it is really good music, but it reminds me of the social music that was out,
Yeah.
a few decades ago.
Curtis Mayfield.
Yes.
and Bill Withers and
Bill Withers,
a
yeah.
lot of folks that had something to say. Norman Whitfield, the Temptations. went
Gil
through
Scott
the-
Heron. Woo!
Yeah, those things always take you to a point in your life.
Yes.
Because the music. I mean, we're going to always hear music, but there's that certain something in some of the music that sticks.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not just a ditty, or something that's good at this particular point in time, and then you don't hear it anymore.
Yeah, because it fades. Your music that's just surface music,
And go-
it fades like the
quick.
snow, right? It's like it's piled on real heavy like a snowstorm. Then it just melts away.
Record companies, they're powerful enough to spend enough money to say, put this in the folks' ears. And then you hear it and you hear it, and then all of a sudden they got something new.
Yeah, yeah.
Or guys like Drake, they come on, boom, here coming Drake again, boom, he's with him, he's with them. So, Drake is everywhere. And listen, God bless all those folks that
Yeah.
get an opportunity to do things. The only thing is, there's no radio for us,
Yeah.
to be able to really live the music that's like it was when we were coming up.
So here's my question for anyone. Now, you guys can call in if you got any ideas or you want to discuss this topic that we're talking about. What happens when there is a station? Will it be supported by the people listening in terms of listening? I know there's one young man that I listen to is Global Radio, and he plays our music.
Yeah,
He plays it. I mean, every time he plays it, he'll send me a message and, let me know so we can listen to the station. And it's an internet radio. However, he's playing the music. And so I listen to his station because a lot of the talent that he has on there is local. Maybe some from Philly, from different places, but he plays a lot of local music, and it's really good. R&B, hip hop, you name it. But how much support could we get if we did like a local station where we played all local music, because see, that's what I feel like we should put together.
Listen, when I get in my car, my the radio is on whatever station it's on.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's just the closest thing to what I would listen to.
Right.
But I listen to my music and music that I program and play in my car myself. I still have one of those cars. I could play my CDs,
Yeah.
And as long as the potholes allow them to be able to be played. But when we came up, let me just give you the whole synopsis. WCHB and WJLB were radio stations in Detroit that at 11 o'clock or between 11:30 and 12 o'clock, they went off the air.
Right.
But all during the day, everybody listened to those between those two stations. So whatever was happening musically, news, anything that was going on in the city around that time, we heard it. We were able to have a recognition of all the things that had something to do with our culture. Right now, we don't have a radio kind of circumstance where you at home and you can take your music to that radio station and they'll play it.
Yeah.
Now they're playing old stuff from other places. I mean, and other people that don't. Fine, but I mean, I don't get it.
So for the people that don't know, what happened?
Well, what happened was one conglomerate, one fact, and I got in trouble by mentioning names
So
before.
you can't mention the name.
I ain't gonna mention them this time, but people know now. Bought up all the black radio stations and then sold them to the other folks.
Yeah.
Who has ownership of most of the radio stations? A guy named Mick Romney.
Okay.
They're part of some kind of conglomerate. They own the black music. They bought up all the radio stations, and they sit on them. So if there's a power or there is an entity, well, our culture is just as big as any other culture, and it's anemic.
Yeah.
We don't have nothing to put in that pipeline for people to say, oh yeah. I mean, we got those kids in this town, with go on national TV and get worldwide exposure, and then come home, if it ain't something that, where somebody is just talking to them and you got a conversation on the radio, that's the end of it. No talent support. Eddie Levert, a few years ago, I had no idea of the severity of it until I saw Eddie Levert on Facebook talking about, I cut a CD and put a single out. And I went to a radio station, and I came up during the era with Eddie Levert, how we supported every kind of radio station.
Right.
We supported. They didn't pay us to come and do those things. We were there and in support. And now there's no camaraderie with radios. You got DJs of folks that ain't DJs. They half for comedians, and most of the things they be talking about, it's not funny. I have a problem with it because I think that more than anything, we need to have that relaxation from our culture, and the ability to get the information that we need to be able to compete and to make our lives better. I mean, stupid stuff. I mean, it irks me, So my radio station, when they come on with all that crazy chatter in the room, I click the thing, boom. I ain't interested in none of that.
Yeah, you want to hear something with some substance.
I want to hear somebody out there trying to make a living.
See, I remember, not to cut you, but that makes me think about this movie I saw, the James Brown movie.
Okay.
And James Brown was like, they won't play my music on this radio station. He said, so this is what we're going to do.
Bad.
This is what we're going to do. We're going to take it to the mom and pops, and we're going to make sure they play ours. And they didn't understand why he was selling so many records or why he was getting so big. It was because he took control of what it was that he wanted.
That's right.
He took control of the destiny in terms of how his music was being heard by the black community. He wasn't necessarily really interested in the other communities because, as Homeboy said, the comedian said, when and this is a true fact, when black people get together and really go towards a goal, they know how to shut it down.
Shut it down.
But you have to be one community to be able to do that. So in order for us to change our situation and for music and artists to be heard that may be local, and I'm not just talking about local in Detroit, I mean like
Everywhere.
Flint, Lansing, maybe Philly, Chicago.
Wherever we are.
We have to, as a community of people, and I don't mean just the Detroit community, the world community, come together to take advantage of those mom and pop stations that are still out there and put our music on those. And that's how you blow it back up and you change the trajectory of where the situation is in terms of the music industry. So we have the power to do that, but we have to come together as a community to do that. I think is very, very possible with people like the example I gave you of Global Radio earlier. If we all support it, then there is room for growth. Remember CHB?
CHB, of course.
Example one.
I mean, when I was young and used to have to go to CHB, I mean, it was like going to another state from the Brewster Projects in
Yeah.
the car all the way out past Middle Belt and Wayne to the WCHB radio station, which was out in the woods
Yes.
at that time. And I can vividly see it right now. I mean, that was such a highlight of my young years when I was doing this. And when you go back to James Brown.
With James Brown, go ahead.
James Brown, those shows that James Brown used to do used to be $1 and sometimes $2. But what they did on those shows, he sold his music,
Yep.
and people were there, and it brought people together.
Yes.
We heard things together. I used to always listening to the Motown music. And when Motown started getting popular, people started hearing that word payola. Payola. Well, why was payola so prevalent then? Because we had to pay for people to hear our stuff.
Yeah.
Those other, I ain't gonna say Ricky Nelson, he wasn't there then, but Gene Pitney and all those other artists, Bobby Darin, not Bobby Darin, but what's his name, with the white shoes, Pat Boone, all those guys were having big hit records, and they went right on the radio. But those little record companies, black record companies, predominantly, the only way they can get any action was to pay.
Yeah.
So the government came down hard on payola, but who was paying?
Right.
Us.
Right.
We were the only ones that were being, it's the same thing again. And people say, why are you always beating on that? Because if you knew what the release was,
Right.
the freedom and the ability to have that medium to be able to do what you're trying to do, you know how easy it would be because of just what you were saying.
Yeah.
When we come to do what we do, we come to kill.
Right.
We come to make a matter.
Yeah,
Not to play something that sounds like somebody else's stuff, so let me get me one.
Right.
So wait till we come back with the next CD.
Yes.
We got our feet wet a little bit, but the next time it's time to come. Ain't no competition.
Right. Well, there's not. There isn't any. And here's the thing about that. I remember when the Temptations did a release of a standard CD.
Right.
Remember? And they had Never. They had all them standards on there.
Almost.
Oh my God. That CD was the bomb.
Yes.
Oh my God. And then I was so happy that someone from that era that really remembered what it was like. Some of them were new, but some of them were still in the group, that they came and they released something that older people can listen to,
Yes.
and that younger people can learn from, because it was really a lesson in
was.
learning some of the arrangement and what they did with the music, and the fact that they just had enough nerve to come back and do it again. And that's what a lot of the older artists should do. They should come and re-release some more material because it's there. Why not? And then use that and show some of them examples of what you learned and how, like when I saw Martha Reeves on the summer. The thing that I said, I was like, Martha can perform. She's a performer. She knows how to perform. She knows how to get her audience. Her audience loves her for what she brought and what she represents in Motown, but she can perform. She has a presence. That stuff right there needs to be taught to a lot of the younger people that don't know.
That don't know. Yeah.
That is what's, to me, a lot of times missing in this industry, you know. And the fact that she's still doing it is just awesome to me. But for more artists to come up and show what they know, oh my God, that's just like the butter.
We out of bounds. We got to take that break, and I'll let you talk about it. But we're at the halfway point. Let's switch over to the leader over here.
See, I'm all into the mode. No, I'm sorry. I just kind of got wound up on, you know, us taking control of our music.
And it is a subject that we really need to be aware of, be focused on, because it makes a difference.
Yeah.
It makes a difference. You know, if we had a community, a place where you know that you're going to hear something that is going to be correct,
Yeah.
something that you need to hear about,
Yeah.
and we got this whole station here. You know, it needs to be supported. Talk
Yes,
about
yes. Well, we
Lemon
got to say, we got to give homage to our sponsor for sure. Lemon Burn, right?
Burn, yes.
Joe, you bought Lemon Burn, didn't
I got
you?
one, yes.
And have you been drinking it?
Well, mine's all gone. I mean,
What?
mine was a community bottle.
Oh,
Everybody
God.
wants
Okay.
some,
I was
you know.
going to say, because it's supposed to last you at least 30
Well,
days.
no, when everybody wants some of it, you know, and be checking it out. So, you know, I because I mean, you know, I always promote like that. You know, people
Yeah.
say I'm fastly trying to get away from all meat.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because right now we're in a point in time when you have to be suspicious of everything.
Yeah.
You know, and to get your body corrected, you know, it's just so many things that you need to do. But let's get that.
Joe, you're so funny. But yeah, Lemon Burn. So I bought me another bottle from Renee last week, and I had it on the table. I was like, yes. So I've been drinking my Lemon Burn again. I
Okay.
do feel better, you know, because last week when I came, I still was really, really congested, and so
Right.
the congestion is going away, and I do feel better. Of course, I'm an advocate of Lemon Burn because I've been drinking it for a while, and just for the allergies alone, and just to feel better, I've been drinking it, and it's good with digestion for sure. That might be too much information.
You know, well, you know, it's real.
Yeah.
You know,
And also for the appetite suppressant, because
that's key.
that is key.
That's
It is key. And knowing how to eat healthy. You know, my daughter has been doing some all green things for me and organic. She makes sure that anything we buy, we bring in the house as meat, is all organic. And she was like, well, if you taking Lemon Burn, because I used to make it. I just didn't have the rose hips and
Okay.
but I used to make my own little version of Lemon Burn, and but it has everything in it that helps to heal with the ginger and the turmeric and lemon juice. It has rose hips.
Yes.
It has black seed oil.
And for people that really don't hearing all these names and all these things, they're natural things,
Right.
homeopathic or just natural.
Right.
Good things, good for you, and things that they're not put no big name on it to publicize.
Right.
But they're good for you, and you know, and everything bad starts in your gut.
Yes.
So you got to sometimes give your gut a bath, clean it out.
Yeah, and the Lemon Burn kind of helps with that. It helps to help you aid in your digestion. I used to use the black seed oil. Stop it, man. I used to use the black seed oil in my green smoothies. Just the black seed oil alone.
Okay, I was looking at Sean back there when I was with Martha Jean, and I used to do commercials or talk on the radio. She was my manager then.
Okay.
And she said, Joe Pep, you talk too much. And I was like, well, you wanted me to talk? She said, yeah, but you didn't say nothing about the record. Okay. So we talking, and it's time for Lemon Burn. We'll take a
That's
break.
so
We'll be
funny.
right back shortly.
Hi, excuse me, do you have anything for paint?
Straight down that aisle there.
Thank you.
Young lady, this here's what you need.
Ringmaster?
Ringmaster rubbing oil.
How does it work?
by promoting circulation since 1950. Massage it in for best results.
Ringmaster took care of my back pain.
Ringmaster got rid of my knee pain too.
Wow, it sounds like I'm late to the party. I'll take one.
Find Ringmaster at CVS, Davis Drugs, and other fine stores.
Welcome back to
Yes, we
What's
got
Up
us-
Detroit. We're sitting here, Joe and I, just kind of like vamping a little bit on some of the things that we've been talking about.
Is there somebody online?
Is it a beep? You got a beep, Joe?
Got a beat?
No. Yeah, it's a call. That's a call. You want to answer it? You know how to answer it?
No, answer it. Carly on the air.
Right here.
Joe Pep Harris, the legendary Daisy Love. This is
Hey,
MC
Gino.
Happy Thursday. How are you?
Hey, Gino.
I am watching you guys on 15.2 before I come in to work this afternoon.
All right.
Okay.
Gino, I want to stick around and see you, hon, but I got to get back to get my granddaughter.
Oh, I know.
I'm
Today
so
we
sorry.
have
I
the,
haven't been able to
Bachelor of the
hang out
Year
with you.
on what's going on in Detroit at 2:30.
Okay.
So, and we are definitely just try to really catch me on the app
Mm-hmm.
today. Catch
Yes.
me and Queen on the app this afternoon.
Yes.
Because I definitely love watching you and Joe's show before I come in.
Thank you.
Even on the reserve weeks, I watch you guys just sit back with
Nice.
a cup of coffee
Oh, see?
and a piece of cinnamon toast.
Well, thank you. We appreciate your
well.
support, Gino.
And I appreciate your support because you guys are the #1 show on Thursday mornings from 11
All right.
to
Okay, we're working
12,
on it.
and don't forget to check us out this afternoon.
Absolutely.
We're the #1 afternoon show on the We Run Detroit family.
Yes.
So I'm going to tell you what, March 12th, if you and Joe are not doing nothing, stick around. Stick around, and I'm going to have you both on what's going on in Detroit, my segment.
So
Okay.
you're talking about March 12th?
We'll be on 88.1. Yeah,
Okay.
March 12th.
Okay.
March 12th. Check us out on what's going on in Detroit, and we're also going to celebrate Renee's birthday.
Hey,
on what's going
Renee.
on in Detroit as well. So we're
Yes.
definitely going to make it's going to be happy. We still got the Bachelor of the Year a little bit on what's
Okay.
going on in Detroit, but we're still going to cram it in because this is our last season. March is
Mhm.
our last season on the air, and our last show is March 26th.
Okay.
So definitely check
We're
us
looking
out
forward
this
to it.
afternoon.
All right.
2 p.m.
2 p.m. you said?
Yeah, 2 p.m.
All
4
right.
p.m.
Got you
on
covered.
FM
Okay.
88.1 WHTR. We Run Detroit Radio. Check out what's going on in Detroit with the legendary vocalist extraordinaire Daisy Love and the legendary Mr. Smiling Faces himself, Mr. Joe Pep Harris.
All right,
Of course.
Gino.
Thank you so
Them
much,
out.
Gino.
Hey, thank you guys so much for being the best show on Thursday mornings, keeping me going before I go to work. So,
All right.
peace. Take it
Well,
easy.
we appreciate the support.
Appreciate you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. See you soon. Yeah, it's Gino.
Okay.
He's always doing something. He's always got something going on. He has his own show and just doing his thing. And I see it more than just one season, Gino. I see you doing this for a long, long time. You definitely have the voice for it. So I think you should think about that. Just keep doing it. Don't ever stop, right, Joe?
That's right. You know, do it to death.
Do it.
Do it
That sounds like a Funkadelic
Yeah,
song.
well, do it to death.
What was
Do
that
it.
song? What was this? Oh, it sounds so familiar. I'm trying to remember the name.
Let me don't get me back in the era.
See, but
'cause-
I'm thinking it's not George Clinton. It was work that sucker to death, sucker to death, work that sucker to death. You remember that? Work that sucker. That
Well, you know,
sucker.
everybody was taking that stuff
That
out,
sucker
taking it
to
back. Yeah. Tear the roof off.
Doo-doo.
Tear the roof off.
Doo-doo.
Yeah. See, that's. I mean,
You
know,
guys don't know. I'm just saying. George was a Parliament Funkadelic for a little while.
That's right. That's right.
He was a Parliament Funkadelic.
And a lot of those guys played with me before they were Funkadelic.
Yes.
You know, and in fact, even after they were Funkadelic, on one of my albums, Tiki Wood and Billy Bass and
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Hazel played on some of my Undisputed Truth stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, I mean, and that's and you see that comes. All of those things are things that are spawned because of the power of the radio.
Yes. Yep. Oh yeah.
You know, the power of the radio. Everybody, when they're in their car, turn that radio on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, they got us listening to Sirius and something way out, don't have nothing to do. It's okay. But it doesn't have anything to do with us.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
somebody marketing something generally overall, and they
Right.
have the ability to play every. They didn't ever want to pay us for Sirius Radio.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, what was that other one? We had a hard time getting them to pay for playing all our music. You know,
mean like on the live stream on the internet?
well, it was just before the streaming.
It's not Pandora.
Pandora.
Okay.
Pandora was getting away
Yeah.
with it. They was playing everything. Everybody had Pandora, and they was playing free black music.
Well, you know, one person who made a big fuss about it was Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And because at the time she was so hot, it was a big deal. And so they made it, it's almost like a Taylor Swift thing now. Taylor Swift law is what I call it. Because she went in and she fussed. She was like, you're not going to play my music and not pay me for it. And then you had companies like Tidal come up, which is owned
Right.
by artists that Beyonce, Jay-Z, people like that, who wanted to make sure that the artists got their fair share of their music being played on the radio.
Yes.
And so when it opened up and people started making room for the artists to be able to get their money, then everybody had to do it. So even YouTube is doing it now, which is,
Yes.
I love
Google's
that.
bought YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
But you can get paid now for your music.
get paid for your
even if
music.
it's 9 cents on the dollar. You're getting paid
get
something for it.
10,000 hits and get some,
Yes.
make $1.
Yes.
Whatever it is, you want your part of it. You
Yes.
know, because if all, just for instance, if YouTube as big as it is, you can go and find the most obscure song out there. If it's on YouTube, it's got an opportunity for somebody to say, "Oh, that's what
Yeah.
I'm looking for," and
Yeah.
play it, and get paid for
Yeah.
it. You know, rather than somebody just have an entity going on, and anytime anybody picks something to play or listen to, you know, they get it subsidized their program,
Right,
and
right.
don't pay the people who did the work,
Right.
anything.
Right. I mean, and that's this realistically, the artists, this is what they do for a living. This is the pension plan. I'm just going to say this is the pension. And when people ask you, because they say that a lot of times, what do you do for a living? And you say, well, I'm a musician or I'm a vocalist. They say, no, what do you do for a living? And I say, this is what I do for a living. So if you respect me and you want me to support your company, then support my company. My company,
Yes.
my business is the music. So it all plays hand in hand. You know, you can't use it for free, realistically. I don't mind going online and buying a song if I know I'm going to listen to that song again and again. I don't mind. Even on YouTube, if I'm an individual person and I just want to go here, say I want to hear one of the older Undisputed Truth songs, and I play it, they get credit for that song. Every time it's played.
Every
If they
time.
had anything to do with writing or singing, they get a portion of a percentage from YouTube for playing that song or allowing it to be able to be played by other people. So you guys got to really, really just we back to the business again. Know the business of the business, so that you can get what you should get. And companies like SoundScan,
Right.
Sound Exchange, is that what it
Yeah,
is?
your Sound Exchange.
They help you to receive your funds. If you're not familiar with
collect.
those companies, they collect your money for you from companies like YouTube, from
Right.
anything that's played on the internet. Every time it's played for how many seconds? 5 seconds?
Enough seconds for it to be past the first verse.
Yes. If it, however long it takes you to get to that first hook of that song, if they play that song, you're getting paid something for that song. And
Yes.
a lot of people don't know that. So just check out, if you're an artist, check out places like Sound Exchange or SoundScan. I think that's what it's called.
Right.
To find out how you can get paid for your music. It's just part of the business. And you definitely want it to be something that you could pass down to your grandkids,
And
your
it's-
kids.
Yes, and Sound Exchange, they make themselves known that they're profiled up there, but they won't look for you.
Right.
You know, I mean, your money will be there, and it's just sitting there, and you needing it, and they just. and it could be there 10 years.
Yeah, yeah.
BJ never received none of her stuff from Smiling Faces until she started back, you know, with us. And you know, all that interest, she don't get any of that.
Wow.
You know, I mean,
Wow.
her money is collected and sitting somewhere in a pot, drawing interest, but you don't get paid any of that. They pay
Right.
you on this just for what that cost was for her portion of that, not no interest. And it's on you to be able to keep up with your work,
Right.
to make sure that that there's a bank account, so that they don't have to look for you. They just keep throwing it in your account.
Right,
Keep, you know,
right.
every quarter.
Right.
And they throw it in your account, and that's it. They collect from everywhere.
And the good thing about having companies that reproduce music, because there are a few other ones popping up outside of CD Baby and companies like that, they can help you put all your information in one place and assimilate it to all the different places. So, you know, you get your CDs done by CD Baby, and they'll sign you up so that Tidal gets your music, so Apple Music, so Amazon, everybody gets your music,
Yeah.
you right?
Yeah.
And then they all have to pay for playing your music. Anytime it's a download, they have to pay you for your downloads. You know, it's worth it to just do the research and find out what it is that you need to know so that you can collect what you need to collect for your music. For young artists that's coming up, even from some of the older artists that may not even know, it's just worthy to check it out. You deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You deserve it. What you got to say about that there, Joe?
That's a fact. I mean, we can only we try to pass it on, you know, and that's one of the purposes of this show, so that we can give out that information. We can talk about it. We can tell you things that you may not be aware of, you know, and we want to get to the point where we are able to play music. We're able to be able to have a couch set and stuff set up in so folks can come in here and do stuff,
Yeah.
you know, to showcase themselves and to do things like that. But that's an expansion that comes from being supported, this station being supported.
Yes.
You know, so, you know, I'm not looking for, Detroit is in that little hook where there's really no breakout. You know, everybody gets a little bit of something that, you know, and they shine.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of folks don't try to spread that glow.
Yeah.
You know, but I know one thing for sure, that if it's a lot of us doing it, and if we're doing it in coming out of the same place, that means there's some competition going on.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it was like, go back to when you were mentioning that album by the Temptations. I can't think of the name of it, but I mean, I was impressed. But I think that was the most successful Temptation album after Norman Whitfield
Oh, wow.
left productions on the Temptations,
Yeah.
which makes a difference. You know, and in fact, you know, we were talking about releases last year from Motown artists from Motown 60.
Okay.
Now, and as I look back, you know, I saw where the Temptations did release an album, but it was a re-release of a lot of stuff
Okay.
and a few new songs in there, but it didn't get the promotion like a Temptations product would normally get.
Yeah,
You know, and a lot of things go along with that. You can give them all the promotion in the world, but when we had a relationship with radio stations everywhere, you know, they took it upon themselves to say, oh, yeah, okay, well, the Temptations, yeah, they support us, we support them. Now it's not like that anymore. You know, there is, you know, everybody is every man for themselves. Take the music away from them. And see and let it
See what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. See, so I mean, the artists, you know, when you start, it's like a marriage, and at one time you would always acknowledge the husband. Never paid the wife. Oh, that's your wife. Oh, hi. You know, and that was it. Okay, so whatever it was taken to make him be who he was, you know, that's a part of the product. That's a
Right.
part of the process.
Right.
You know, so when you take the artist out of the music or out of the business part of it, then you don't have anything. It's like when they took the drummers and the musicians
Oh, yes.
out and started programming
Program.
everything. You know, so what happened to the Jamesons?
Right.
You know, what happened to all the musicians that, you know, people, you know, from the jazz era?
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you recognize them because of the instruments that they played and those kind of things. that is self-promotion to a degree. You hear some things, say, who's that bass player? Who's that keyboard player?
Yeah.
You know, so it starts in the studio.
Right.
It starts with the artist, and the formula is make the music, take it to the radio stations. They got content. You know, I mean, they tried everything they could to shut that little kid down last year with that road, country
one?
road.
Go down to the Old Town Road.
Old Town Road.
Yes.
I mean, that's content.
Yeah.
Whether he was a country western singer or not.
Yeah.
Ray Charles was the biggest country western singer I ever heard. You know, for real, because he
Yeah.
wasn't faking it. You know,
Right,
everybody
right.
twanging and putting a hat on and all of that. That don't make you a country western singer.
Right. And what made it so famous for that young man that did the Old Town Road? Little kids was listening to it,
Little
but
kid-
everybody was. You know, my granddaughter at the time, she's like 7, I think it was, and she was like, "You heard the song, Grandma?" And she played it for me. I was like, "Oh man, that's kind of clever." And they all were listening to it. So they were putting the older people on to the song, which was kind of cool. You know, I had never even heard the artist before.
That was his first.
Never.
That was his first thing.
Yeah,
See,
that's good though.
one hit wonder.
He said one hit wonder. Yeah.
You don't need another one.
No, he don't,
don't
because
need
that one is
another
going
one.
to stick around for some time because they're still listening to it. Still
And
listening to it.
He's been paid,
Right.
and and he's still collecting, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Again, like they were saying, what I was mentioning before, it's like, you know, we really have the power to do what it is we want to do. And, you know, after the stations or the radio stations or the airwaves or whatever you want to call it has been bought and they've taken away what we call content in terms of the live musician and artistship that goes into presenting those songs, performing those songs, or even having them played on the radio, we still have the power because you are the artist. You create the music. It's your platform. How do you want to get it out there and get it known? You know, I choose to go with some of the internet radio stations, and the reason why is because they control the content. You know, they control what's being played out there. You know, and they are directly in line with the artist. You know, like the young man connected with me, and it was like, "I want to play you guys' music." I'm like, "Sure, there you go." I know that wherever it's played, even on the internet, I'm still being paid for it. So you have to decide how you want to put that music out there. And with people like Global Radio, doing the artist, you know, having the pleasure of playing the artist and putting it out first, that's growing their stations. So, you know, you don't have to feel like you don't have an outlet because you're not being heard by the majors radio stations. You do have an outlet. There's many radio stations you
I'm
can put that
telling
music
you,
on
and
there.
you said something took me back to my stupid days. I had stupid days, you know, when I was, you know, when we were I was with the Peps. We were very popular. Don Davis was managing us, and we were recording at United and all those kind of things, and putting music out popular all over Detroit. So we just knew we had checks coming, you know. And I'm the spokesman. I'm going to Don. You know, well, you know, when we gonna get paid? Don said, "Paid for what?" I was like, "Everybody got our record, so I know." We got something coming. He said, "Well, yeah, everybody gonna have to have your record 9 or 10 times for any return, you
Yeah.
know." And see, and that's the thing that you really have to understand is that you have to sell a lot of these, you know. And today, the cost of a CD is, you know, because of the way you have to get it, unless you're getting it directly out of our hands,
Right.
it might come up to all the way up to $20 for a CD, you know, and our portion of it, you know, that's not us,
Right.
you know, because there are writers,
Yeah.
there's the producers, there's the record company, so that money is broken down in a lot of different ways.
Right.
And before we're the last people paid.
Right.
You know, see, so, but you keep pushing it. Like, we're going to keep pushing our CD, keep pushing it, because sometimes somebody's going to hear it and say, "Oh, I didn't know you had." It's like when I went to Louisiana, those folks down there, I had a few in my pocket, and they was, whoo, gone.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, people
Oh,
say,
yeah.
"Oh yeah, oh," yeah. And I still get comments from folks saying, "I'm playing my." The lady at the front desk here, Renee. You know, and I walked in today. She said, "Oh boy, I'm loving that CD." I was like, "What CD? Yours?"
Yeah, yeah. It's an unexpected surprise because it has some classic Motown on here. It has the Norman Whitfield song in there, right? You Can't Run From Yourself.
Yeah.
Yep. It's got Metamorphosis. That's written by Jackie G, one of the singers in Undisputed Truth, the homegirl. It's got What Good Is Love, written by Cadillac Dale.
Cadillac Dale,
Homeboy
yes.
right there. But it's great, great music. And Money, Barrett Strong's song.
first Motown record.
Undisputed Truth, we remade it for Barrett Strong as a tribute to Barrett Strong. We have Butterflies. That's a song that came way from South Africa that was presented to us to do. And
Clay McMurray.
when the young ladies heard that we were doing it, they were honored to have Undisputed Truth do the song. I felt pressure because I'm like, oh, they did a great job on it, but they
Right.
wanted us. They was happy that we were going to redo
We had
it.
a hard time getting the business part of it.
Yes,
done
we did.
because
Yes.
it's everything is a process. You got to get permission
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to be recording something and spending your money on those sessions, and then you got a record you can't put out
Right.
because you don't have the permission.
Right.
You know, and those people that are producing the quantity has to know that you have permission to do that because
Right.
they're liable.
Right.
You
right.
know, so everything you want to redo something, you don't have to find the actual person that written it.
Right.
You know, that wrote it. There's agencies that you can go through. That's what they do. They clear it for you.
Fox Agency.
Fox
That's
agencies.
one of them, right?
Yeah, and that one clearinghouse. You know, next week I'll have the name for you.
Yeah.
You know, you can go there and they do it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not as tedious as you may think
Right.
it is, but it is a process, and you have to go through the process of making it something that that is going to be legit.
Right, right. And most time artists are happy that you're interested in redoing their music because they feel like it's a representation of what they did. And so they're really happy to have people copy what they did and reproduce it and re-put it out there. You just have to make sure, like Joe said, you take care of the business aspect of it to make it legal so that you can be free at selling it, and then you can get your share of it. You understand what I'm saying? The artist is still getting paid. Anytime somebody reproduces a song, they're still getting paid for it. So they don't mind if you redo their music, and it's actually they're happy because it's
the
coat in their
writer-
pockets too.
Yeah, because I mean,
Yes.
somebody, it's like Stand By Me. That kind of a song. When you go and realize how many people have recorded that song,
Oh, yeah.
and not just so much recorded, there's places that even when you go to sing them, there's a fee.
Yeah.
And that place, that venue has to pay.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, some songs, they don't, they're not, no pressure on it, but there's certain, go somewhere and
Mm-hmm.
go down there to the hockey rink and do some Beatles and see
Oh, yeah.
that somebody be looking for you to pay. You sang Let It Be Me on
Yeah.
that.
If you
on
sang it in the stadium, then the stadium has,
has
to pay. And that's real. So that's just a fee that most clubs and most companies, big organizations like that, have to pay for being able to play music or having live artists come in and play that music in their venue. So I mean, there's tons of ways to make money.
Tons of ways.
Tons.
Yes.
You just have to make sure you're versed on it, meaning you know the material, know the information that you need to know to get your music done, and it's all legit.
Let me just make this a little clarity of something that I learned last month, and it was talking about Lamont Dozier. Lamont Dozier, of course, is the middle initial in Holland, Dozier Holland, which some of I stand on their shoulders, and Lamont Dozier started off working as a janitor at Motown, one of the facilities.
Oh wow!
I mean, I just learned this.
I didn't know that.
And he wrote a song. He wrote a song, and he got a hit record, and then he wrote 500.
Oh wow!
Never Look Back.
Yeah.
I mean, a future. I mean, there's a lot of folks out there now who have that ability, but they're just looking for a place to sit down. It's lemon burn time for us.
Well,
Go home.
I honestly, I think we want to thank our sponsor, Lemon Burn, for hosting us again today. You know, we truly appreciate it. We appreciate being here at the station. I've been loving it. I remember being back in the day. I used to come down here and dance. I think I was on the scene twice, but you have to look for the tapes. One time I rapped, one time I danced.
Okay.
But Lemon Burn sponsors us to be able to bring this content to you, and we truly appreciate the ability to be able to share this information with you. We want you guys to keep tuning in to us on What's Up Detroit. We'll be back with more information, more artists, more content that's necessary to know, right, Joe?
That's right.
More Motown artists, more current, up-to-date artists.
What's
you know,
going on in Detroit? We're going to try to showcase a lot of the artists in Detroit that doesn't get that high profile.
That's right. That's right. And you will be hearing it from us. Just one extra note, they're supposed to bring entertainment back to Motor City, but that's for next week.
Okay.
So you guys stick with us. We'll see you next week on What's Up Detroit.